Royal Caribbean has announced it sold 2 of its cruise ships, and I've got the details on which ships are sold and when they're leaving up next. Hey everyone, it's Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, and we're saying goodbye to 2 friends today as Royal Caribbean has announced that Majesty of the Seas and Empress of the Seas have both been sold and will depart the fleet later this month. Now, both ships have not been scrapped. That's the good news, I guess. They've been sold to an undisclosed party based in Asia Pacific that will release details for future sailings at a later time. Now, the big news, of course, is that these 2 ships are leaving the fleet, and it's not totally unexpected. Royal Caribbean has not sold any of its cruise ships since the cruise industry shut down back in March of 2020, but with other cruise lines selling and scrapping cruise ships, including subsidiary brand Pullmantur Cruises, it seemed like it was going to happen. Royal Caribbean President and CEO Michael Bailey took to social media to offer his goodbye to both of these ships, saying, quote, "Empress and Majesty of the Seas made indelible marks on the cruise industry with their revolutionary design and size. Touted as the cruise industry's most groundbreaking ships when they were introduced, they continue to make history throughout their more than 3 decades of service. Saying goodbye to these 2 beloved ships is a major moment in Royal Caribbean's history, one that is difficult but necessary. With new plans for new, innovative ships to join our fleet in the upcoming years, we look forward to our guests and crew continuing to make new memories with us," end quote. Now, anybody that had a cruise booked on either Majesty or Empress of the Seas will be contacted by the cruise line with their options for either rebooking or, of course, cancellation. For months, both of these ships have been the subject of rumors of being scrapped because, of course, they are the smallest and oldest ships in the fleet, and even before the cruise shutdown began, these ships lost their role in a way over the course of the last couple of years, with Cuba not being able to be visited by cruise lines anymore. And ever since then, they've been the subject of rumors that they were going to be sold or scrapped or whatever and basically leave the fleet. But with today's news, it's official and they will be departing the fleet. And I thought it might be also interesting to look back on their legacy, of course. Majesty of the Seas is the last sovereign class ship left in Royal Caribbean's fleet, and she joined the fleet in 1992. She began with 7-night Western Caribbean cruises from Miami, and ever since has offered Caribbean cruises of various lengths and destinations. She's sailed from places like Port Canaveral, Miami, Tampa, and of course, New Orleans. Empress of the Seas is even older than Majesty, having joined the fleet in 1990, and she is literally one of a kind. Unlike so many ships these days, she was the only ship of her type built. There was no class. She was just simply Empress of the Seas. And actually, before she was Empress of the Seas, she was known as the Nordic Empress, and then was later changed her name to Empress of the Seas. Now, Empress was designed for short sailings, 3- and 4-night cruises to the Bahamas or Miami, and Empress also made history as the first cruise ship to sail out of Cape Liberty in Bayonne, New Jersey, when Royal Caribbean opened that terminal back in 2004. Now, Empress also has another interesting anecdote about her in that she was already sold off. She actually was transferred to Pullmantur Cruises, spent some time there, and then rejoined the fleet later on when Cuba opened up as an option. And Royal Caribbean brought Empress back, spent a lot of time and money on getting her back up to speed and making sure that she was equal to the Royal Caribbean standards, and she began offering cruises to Cuba until the United States said that cruises to Cuba were no longer allowed. Something else of note is that this isn't the first time that we've heard Majesty is leaving the fleet. In 2014, Royal Caribbean announced that it would follow in the footsteps of Monarch of the Seas and Sovereign of the Seas by transferring Majesty of the Seas out of the fleet and to go to Pullmantur Cruise Line. But then Royal Caribbean changed its mind and kept the ship in service to offer short Bahamas sailings, and she actually got a pretty big upgrade and refurbishment. Majesty of the Seas was the last of 3 sovereign-class vessels, of course, Sovereign of the Seas and Monarch of the Seas before them, built at Chantier de l'Antique, which is now STX France in Saint-Nazaire, France, and she had her maiden voyage April 26, 1992. And as I mentioned, both ships were the 2 oldest ships remaining in Royal Caribbean's fleet. With their departure, that makes now Grandeur of the Seas the oldest ship in the fleet, which was another ship that was supposed to be sold off to Pullmantur Cruise Lines, but because of the cruise shutdown and some financial troubles that Pullmantur was going through, Grandeur is now staying in the fleet, so we'll have to keep an eye on what's going on over there. Replacing both of these ships in the coming years will be Odyssey of the Seas in 2021 and Wonder of the Seas in 2022. Odyssey is the new Quantum Ultra-class ship that was supposed to be delivered in 2020, but that was delayed. And similarly, Wonder of the Seas, the next Oasis-class cruise ship, will be delivered in 2022 instead of 2021. Now, you might have a chance to see Odyssey of the Seas over in either Europe or here in the United States, while Wonder of the Seas is slated to head over to Asia and offer cruises exclusively from there. Now, the decision to sell cruise ships is never an easy one, but with everything going on with the global cruise shutdown, it's not totally unexpected either. Several other cruise lines have either scrapped or sold their older vessels, as the current health crisis has halted sailings since March. Some of those decisions centered around the need to run larger, more efficient ships with more passenger capacity because, of course, one of the major new health protocols required is to have reduced capacity on board. And turning a profit on ships like Empress of the Seas and Majesty of the Seas is really difficult to do in a world that you only have maybe half the ship full. So in closing, we say goodbye to Majesty and Empress of the Seas, and I want to know in the comments below, have you ever sailed on either of these ships, Majesty or Empress? Let me know what your fondest memories are of both of these ships, and let me also know in the comments if you're surprised by today's news. While you're down there, make sure you like this video because it really does help us out with the whole YouTube algorithm thing. Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on these awesome videos, and turn on your notifications. That's that little bell icon that will alert you when I have a brand new video to share. This has been Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, and we'll talk again real soon.